What is good people? You are now listening to another episode of At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. I am your humble narrator, Danny Foxworth, and today we have an extremely special guest. He is 1/4 of the Four Wisemen Pod. Make sure you like, download, and subscribe to their podcast. Diehard Arizona State fan and Fiyastarter Nation. Fiyastarter Nation, the fire rises. Fiyastarter Nation.
Yeah, dog.
Fiyastarter Nation. You may know him as arguably the most incendiary email sender in the history of the Fiyastarter Podcast. Party people, we have Jamboy in the building. Jamboy, what's good, bro?
Hey man, I'm good. I'm glad to be here, man. Yeah, Firestarter Nation, man. If you haven't heard my voice ever before, this is what I sound like. So, yeah, man. I also before we keep going, man, I want to say big shout outs to the whole Firestarter crew, K Baz, Basa, and you know what I'm saying, telling everybody like I was kind of hurt that I couldn't make. I mean, obviously, I told you I had a lot of stuff going on, and I appreciate the episode that you did for them, the dedication episodes that you put forth to them, because man, quite honestly, those dudes are a big reason of how I found out about like, oh, regular people can be on podcasts, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know, and when I started listening to them, I found out about them through there was a myriad of things. I used to listen to this guy called the Haterazzi.
Yep, man.
Yeah,
You took it back.
hey, you know what I'm saying? So I listened to Haterazzi. Haterazzi put me on the Rod and Karen, right? The black guy who tips.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could say I was a super fan of them because I used to call in and leave that voicemail. Rod would Rod would play like theme music. And I'm just like, yeah, Rod, like, yo, it's crazy. Like, I'm breaking all the show rules, going over time, like I usually do. Rod would get annoyed and be like, all right. And I can't remember what song he would play, but I'd just be like, yeah, Rod. And like he would know, he'd be like, all right, we got enough voicemail from Jam. You know what I'm saying? And then and then Rod name drops another podcast called High Five Star. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna check them fellas out. Just so happens I have family in DC in the whole DMV area and Baltimore. So I caught on really quick to what they were saying because I was like, oh, these dudes, like I know, like, you know how like they have certain isms and stuff that they say and stuff like that. Like, oh man, I already knew, and this makes me feel more connected to my family back home, like back east, the way they talk and stuff like that. Just, you know, the lingo and everything else like that. So that connection for me was like immediate. So that's how that came about. So I just wanted to give them their flowers, man. And yeah, man, I'm just happy to be here, bro. Happy to be here. And I appreciate what you're doing and what you did that particular episode, man. That was great. That was awesome.
Thank you, man. Greatly appreciate it. So, the Four Wise Men Pod, how did that come about?
So originally, and a lot of people will know, the Four Wisemen Pod is just another iteration of the Random Podcast. Random Podcast came about because I got the bright idea. I was like, you know what? Again, if Rod Karen can do it, you know, Firestarter can do it, Hater Rossi can do it. I feel like I got something to say. Let me try it out. And at first I was doing it by myself because I was also a big fan of Bill Burr.
Yeah.
And I soon realized talking for an hour by yourself is hard.
It's strenuous.
And there's some, I'm sure somebody could find a clip, but somewhere on SoundCloud. But there was a couple episodes, I'm gonna say about 5, where I'm talking for an hour. I'm a talkative guy, but that was hard. Like I just didn't know. I didn't know what, you know, it's one of those things, you don't know what you don't know. And I was like, man, I can't sustain it. Like I need somebody to bounce stuff off of. At the same time, Manny, as those know your freshness on the pod, he started getting into Joe Budden's podcast. Now, obviously, as you guys know, Joe Budden's podcast has gone through many iterations also. This is back when like Marty was on there early on, like Hot 97 days, right? And he's doing a podcast. So I reached out to Manny because me and Manny had went to the same high school. Manny's a year younger than me. And we knew each other and got the same friends and quite honestly, family in common. and everything like that. And he had posted something on his Facebook about podcasting and about the Jamboy podcast. I said, bro, do you want to join my podcast? He's like, shit, let's do it. So we start scrambling and everything like that, like come up with show notes and everything like that. And then comes the time, well, what are we gonna call this thing? We brainstormed. I was like, well, it's random as hell because we don't ever stay on script anyway. So so we started calling ourselves the Random Podcast, which initially, I mean, slow build, but then it started to take off and we started seeing the numbers for it, like outside of family. Like, you know what I'm saying? That initial family and friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I noticed I want to be clear. I did know that was you. I did with I want to be sure. Were you ever in South Carolina?
Yep. That's where I'm from.
Okay, got you. So I know we would crack jokes and be like, "Oh, that must be Charlemagne, because Charlemagne the God's from among South Carolina."
Yeah,
so
that's where I'm from.
Okay, so we would always crack that joke, and then I mean, eventually I put two and two together because on the back scenes you can kind of see metrics and see where people are at and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So you were definitely on us early. Yeah. So I appreciate that, but so me and Manny are doing that for a while. One hiatus, birth of his child, like love him to death. My little nephew, and we stopped that, and then the podcast landscape started to change because we had to get off SoundCloud, right? It was just like at this point in time, also we were dead broke, like. Mm-hmm. Like I was in my apartment. We're trying to figure out. I don't even have internet in my apartment. Like bruh. We would record the show. I would go down to ASU, use my ID, upload it at the computer commons, and like shoot it off that way. Cause I was like, I'm too broke. I can't afford, like I couldn't afford internet. So we started doing that for a couple years. We started gaining traction and stuff like that. We then add my boy Paul, who was, I mean, if you knew Paul, would be the most hilarious thing ever because the boy don't talk. Like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's very reserved and everything like that. And we was like, well, we have such a good time with Paul, but we don't know how's he gonna react to questions. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we add Paul. Then we add the plug, aka Cam. And it just been a love affair ever since. Again, I want to be clear, we all know each other's like parents. Like we've known each other since high school. Like we got that kind of brotherhood and bond. Like we done seen family members pass, the birthing of children. I want to be clear, like, you know what I'm saying? Like this isn't your normal type of like, hey, I just met you, a year ago. Let's do a podcast. We got good chemistry type of deal.
Yeah, y'all got history.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I done slept on somebody's couch. Like, you know what I'm saying? Before podcasting, I had a clothing line with another group of guys. Manny and Cam would throw parties. We would sell t-shirts at his parties. Stuff like
word.
Yeah, so we had a lot of stuff moving and shaking, and we always had that relationship. Cam and Manny used to have Cam, Manny, and their cousin, and Cam's cousin used to have a short skit show called Orange Chicken, very popular back in our day. Orange Chicken, and they used to have a YouTube, put it on YouTube before skits have become what they are now.
Yeah.
So again, we've all been connected somehow, some way through all of that. And again, like me, Manny, and Paul all went to the same high school. I knew Cam since like the 6th grade because we went to the same grade school, just different high schools. We met Terrence, who's the last member. We met Terrence in college, and that was obviously over a decade or so ago. So you know what I'm saying? I done been to Terrence at my house. She was like, she done made me food before. That's the standard we held our friendships to, man. If I ain't met your parents, I ain't met your mama. Like, I mean, if they still living, you know what I'm saying? But like,
right.
That's usually where the friendships you can tell are genuine at, man. And that's how that goes. Just a brief update because this could be breaking news. We're going through another change right now. Honestly, it's just we like I'm in a different time zone. I don't know if most people don't know that. I think I've touched on it at least in the Fiyastarter Podcast emails. I moved. I'm in a different time zone, so I'm about 2 hours ahead of them. So as you can imagine, and I'm usually doing it via phone. Like it's just a lot of technical stuff that has hindered our growth. We know that. We appreciate you guys for keep trying to listen and everything like that. We even know that it's inconsistent like a motherfucker. Like so we're trying and everything like that. But I think right now, we're just that's not goodbye. It's just we're just pausing right now because there's not necessarily a lot of internal stuff, but people just got to get certain things in order. Because again, Manny has obviously a wife and has like a family. And he has two little ones, like
Yeah.
below the age of what is that, 6? And they don't sleep. So you know what I'm saying? And we record at his house because he just
Oh,
had
okay.
he has the optimal space for whether it be acoustics, like equipment and everything else like that. And due to the nature of his wife's job, it's kind of hard with the scheduling and stuff like that, right? There's a lot of moving pieces. And plus our lives too, our scheduling too. That's what comes with, having partners and partnership within this podcast space.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where we just got to figure it out because I think I mean if I'm being quite honest, I think me moving I know for sure it put a damper on the pod because it's like when you take and again this is no slight to anybody else, but me and Manny are moving the show forward because we were used to that, right? Me and him had chemistry of bouncing stuff off. So if you take one A mic away, Manny then has to raise his game, you know what I mean? Pick up the slack while I'm over the phone like Shine trying to record a jail bar verse. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of our stuff is literally like the Firestarter, and I've told Ba this a lot. Like we get a lot of our like nuances because I've studied their podcast because I thought it was so cool. Like to have that type of camaraderie and friendship within that framework, and then have it connect in the podcast space. It's like wow, you can tell. Like they got inside jokes from when they was in college, and we
Yep.
got the same stuff. We got the same stuff. But like when I'm not there, I can't read the reaction off Manny's face and refer. I'll be like, oh, so you giving me that same look when someone
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
such and such. What's that about? Like shenanigans, like it's we still have fun, and I know we give you guys good content when we do, but it's not necessarily the same. And we're trying to figure out how we can do that. Like when I go visit back home, we definitely like I let the guys know well in advance, and we try and knock out an episode or two, or just a special guest episode like, "Yo, I'm back. Hey, what's up?" Da, 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 when we can. And just right now it's a tough time. We're trying to make it work. So just give y'all an update. I know I give y'all like a long-winded ass answer, but that's literally how I'll be writing them emails. So it came bad. So I just want y'all to know, like, I really do talk like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. In the professional space, I shorten it up, but I tend to go a little long.
You let them fly.
Yeah, man. I for sure do.
And that's the one thing I always enjoyed about your emails because I know when you send one, there's going to be at least a part 2 and a 3.
Bro, I be trying, like, bro. So, funny thing, I'll give y'all some backstory too. For a while, I was pissing K-Bad off and he would not read it. Like, when I finally got the courage enough, like, because again, I had been a long time listener, I just never, like, emailed in. So, when I finally get the courage to do it, I be giving it, I just have a lot of word vomit. Now, it's funny and it makes sense, but you got to read the whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would do that, and then I'd be like, damn, I forgot. All right, well, hey, fire up another one, part 2. You know what I'm saying? I'll start typing. And for a while, K-Bad was like, yo, I'm not reading this big ass block of text. And it coincided with like, again, y'all know I love everything Arizona State because that's where I'm from. it coincided with Arizona State being real good at the time. Like ASU had 2 10-win seasons back to back. So I'm firing off every week, like, yeah, nigga, like, you know what's up. Da, 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 da. Remember, like, my nemesis Kid Wolf.
Kid Wolf.
Yep. Yeah. We going back on Twitter. I was like, it don't matter, bro. I'm coming for you in the emails, bro. And this is when Twitter had, the only 160 characters. I was like, I can't get this off here. But we go get to these emails though. So finally, I think it might have been I think it may have been Tone or maybe Bob. I can't remember, but they was like, hey, don't get like they literally just told me like, yo, keep sending me and don't get discouraged. Like we'll just play on it. You know what I'm saying? We'll make it a part of the show. I was like, oh, for sure. Like I wasn't gonna stop anyway. Like, but I mean, I appreciate y'all with it. And finally, to be honest with you, man, honestly, I really think I just wore K-Bad down. I just wore him down. Like, cause I just kept coming, dog. Like, we not gonna skip over ASU. I just can't allow it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't let these niggas get up on me, man. I couldn't let it. So
my favorite shit was when Herm Edwards started stinking it up.
Oh my God.
And oh boy, and them emails started coming in weekly. I'm like, man, bro, I put it straight in my veins.
Well, yeah, man. I know y'all used to it, but man, I'm one of them crazy people like that be calling on the Paul. I don't know if y'all familiar, but Paul Feinbaum show. I'm definitely of that vein. I will call if you say, hey, how do you feel about Arizona State football? I call you out every week. Like if you need me an email and my opinion on it, I can give it to you. You know what I'm saying? And they allowed me to voice my opinion, and we've had a lot of laughs along the way. I've actually, oddly enough, I've connected with K-Bad on a professional level because I needed his advice because he coached before and everything like that. Definitely at high programs and stuff like that. And yeah, man, the dude was gracious enough. He gave me his number, and when I tell you I was so ecstatic, I was like super hyped, man, because I'm like, dude, like this is one of my podcast heroes helping me out professionally. This is cool. Like I'm a nerd. Like I'm truly a nerd. Like I'm like, bruh, I got K-Bad's number. Like I'm not granted, I'm not gonna abuse it. Yeah. All right, I ain't gonna lie. I abused it one time. I'm trying to remember what was the instance. Something happened. It was some sporting event happened. I think it was when Herm Edwards got fired. I think. But I called him and I was like, hey, bro, I'm sorry I'm calling you right now. And I know this ain't got necessarily nothing to do with professional work, but damn it. And like, of course he was busy. And I immediately texted him, was like, bro, I'm sorry. You know how I get. I just like, he was like, oh, it's cool, man. Like, So me and K-Bad, man, I started off rocky, man, but we good peoples now, man. I truly appreciate that dude. He's helped me more than I probably have let on, like to him even, because he gave me some jewels that, bruh, like helped me out completely. So, yeah, man.
And shout out to the Fiyastarter Podcast, man. It's amazing how many people they've impacted.
It's great, bruh. I did not know. So I had I think I got one of their links one time, and it showed how many people like listen to their episode. Totally, I was taken back. I was like, oh shit, because in my mind, I'm like, if they listen to the show, they know who I am. They know they know who Bushrod is. They know, you know what I'm saying? Like, all these stuff like that and everything like that. And I'm like, oh, we're part of like the lexicon now. Like, bruh, like they know you. They know, you know what I'm saying? And that was so dope to me because it was like I've always been like someone who's like, yo, and that's probably why I gravitate so much to team sports, something that's bigger than themselves. And I was like, yo, what? Like I saw the numbers and I was like it was like a couple thousand, which to me, I was like, yeah. And I was like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? And it was so much so that like I had a a public Twitter at the time. Like I didn't put it on private or nothing, and people would hit me up, be like, haha, like they would challenge me on what I said in the email and everything like that. I was like, who are these people? Like coming, you know what I'm saying? And then I was like, oh shit, I think they listen to the Fiyastarter. Like they got to listen to Fiyastarter. That's how it happens. And sure enough, yeah, man. Um, so yeah, man, they've done tremendous work in the podcast space. Um, I know Boss said he ain't got nothing but time. I'm glad to hear that because I'm gonna be firing up an email pretty soon. He said, like last week, he was like, yeah, I got nothing but time. Let's do this, let's do that. I said, all right, bro. I said, oh, yeah, man, yeah. I got a lot of life update news and stuff like that I can definitely share, man. A lot of ASU stuff coming down the pipe, so I can definitely lend myself to that.
Man, I'll be right here looking forward to it, man. We're doing the Birdman hand rub. Now we're going to get into the baseball talk now. So, what were some of your earliest baseball memories?
Earliest baseball memory, and this kind of segues into how I became a Yankees fan.
Okay.
Again, I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona. We did not have. I'm old enough, and I'll be telling y'all my age. I'm not nervous about that. Like I'll be turning 34 in July. I'm old enough to not have like a home baseball team. The D-backs weren't a lot, like they weren't around, right? They didn't come around until later for me. 98. So I'll never forget I was playing Little League and I was actually really decent. I was the chubby athletic kid. Again, this is Phoenix, early 90s. Charles Barkley's the latest rage. We all thought we was going to the league. So I played 3 sports: basketball, football, baseball. Basketball and football came easy to me. I love that practice because I was like, oh, this is fun. Baseball, as you know, is a technical game. Like your swing got to be right. You're throwing like it just bothered me, right? But I'll never forget, like one of my coaches at the time, Mr. Hernandez, was like, hey, Jay, we're actually gonna, because I was playing first base. Now you know a chubby kid at first base, I had to stretch. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, you know what, we're gonna move you to catcher because I think your future in baseball is catching. He was like, because you got a decent arm, you can get it to second when we need you to get it to second. Now at the time, I'm like, man, catching is kind of whack. Like, I don't want to be, you know what I'm saying? That's like when you send the kids who are fast, but like with bad attention spans to the outfield because the ball ain't never gonna get that far. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he's like, So I moved to catcher, and he was like, hey, model your game after a big leaguer. Now, mind you, this is early 90s and everything like that. So I'm like, and I'm like, all right. So I'm looking at the catchers and I'm like, okay, I don't like this person. Nah, they're really not feeling on this person. 2 people stood out to me, and I'll tell you why. I could have been a Mets fan. That would have been brutal. Um, because I like Mike Piazza. Mike Piazza he was doing what was he doing? Because I was big into wrestling. He had a commercial with The Rock and like with WWF at the time. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So I started following the Mets. Because I was like, what is Mike about to do? Like, and Mike was a beast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think my coach said something. He was like, have you ever looked at Jorge Posada's game? And I was like, nah, but Mike got the juice, like obviously the juice. But I was like, Mike is Mike, like Mike is something there. I'm like, he knew. He was like, I'm trying to save you from the torment that is being a best fan. Just take the damn lifeline. As me and him talk later. But so I check out Mike Piazza. I mean, Jorge Posada. And this is before the Yankee run, like other night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, yo, actually, I like him. And to mind you, I like Jeter and everything like that before that, but I never played shortstop. So it was just, you know what I'm saying? And one day at practice, he looked at me and was like, dead in my face, and was like, so who's it gonna be? And if you would have asked me an hour before, I would have said, it's Mike Piazza. I'm going with the Mets. Because I didn't have a team.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the Dodgers were just never an option for me. Like the whole LA and Phoenix thing, there's a small little brother, big brother rivalry. We can touch on that later, but that rivalry is weird. Not necessarily weird, but it's just funny. Um and literally I just blurted out Jorge Posada. Like I just said like that. He was like, he clapped his hands. All right, that's it. You are a Yankees fan. Now,
Wow.
granted, yeah, that's how it happened for me. Like my
Okay.
my baseball coach made me choose and everything like that. So I'm like, all right, cool. Obviously, I didn't feel bad one bit when the Yankees went on that run. I'm not gonna lie to you. As a little kid, I thought it was gonna be like that every day, like every year, because I'm getting into my baseball future. This is all I know. We are winning.
Yeah.
Red Sox ain't nobody like they're gonna give it up. They're gonna capitalize on it. Derek Jeter's gonna make some magical play. Like Rivera's gonna come through. It's over. Yada yada yada. And that's how me becoming a Yankees fan happened. The D-backs thing, that's a whole nother childhood trauma that I could talk about. So obviously D-backs and their inception come into play. Now, as you know, if you know me, you know how I cheer about ASU. It is fire and brimstone when we talking about them. I ain't leaving, right? And the same with the Yankees. So D-backs come into play, and all my friends, like some people, I remember one of my friends, like the Cubs, the White Sox, because he had family from Chicago. Like, you know what I'm saying? We
Mm-hmm.
had all these factors. Then you got the LA Dodgers influence and everything like that. So a lot of my friends left their teams and went straight D-backs, which is fine. That's cool. Like, fam, we're little kids at this point. Like, there's no, you know what I'm saying? No thing. But I was like, I I just won a couple ships. I'm not leaving. Like, it doesn't make sense because I
If
know
it
they
ain't
go,
if it ain't broke,
bro. I got Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada. Like, you know what I'm saying? As a kid, you see my favorite team and players are always on TV. They're always in commercials. Like, so me being a Yankees fan was never a problem until these D-backs came in '01, right?
mm-hmm.
So I'll never forget. Of course, I'm still going to school, Yankee fitted, like, you know what I'm saying, backpack in hand. It's no thing. It's everybody knows where my allegiance is. They may have changed, right? So '01 happens. Obviously, there's a lot of things happening. September 11th, like, and I mean, just in our country's fabric and everything like that that happened in that year '01, especially for me as a sports fan. You know what I'm saying? The Sixers go to the finals. Like, there's a whole lot of stuff happening as a little kid that I'm just like, sports wise, I'm like, I'm having a blast, fam. Like, yeah. So anyway, um, my friends literally look at me before the World Series, right? They look at me and they're like, look, we won't fault you if you just come home. And this has been a common theme with me in Arizona sports. We won't fault you if you just come home. You gotta like, it's gonna be weird if you do it after, if you start claiming it after we win the World Series. So I was like, you know what? After special consider, I will never get this. My friend RJ, he was like, dude, just do it. Just come home. Like, dude, we're gonna be here. Like, we got Randy, Kirk, like, you know what I'm saying? Gonzalez, like, and everything like that. I was like, bro, I just can't. Like, it just doesn't feel right to me. Like, I didn't grow up with this team. I didn't grow up with this team. Like, they were on the local stations and stuff. And I didn't even go to D-backs games like that. Like, even in their inception, I wasn't going to D-backs games. I was like, bro, Yankees on TV. I was very fortunate enough that my grandmother had ESPN.
Yeah.
So I just go to her house, play like, and I'm sitting in front of the TV. Oddly enough, she was an X fan. I still don't even know how that happened. God rest her soul. But like, yeah, she like, I don't even know how I'm not an A's fan because I used to be over her house all the time. Anyway, um, so the D-backs and Yankees face off in '01. Obviously, the Yankees lose in the most gut punching, dramatic fashion as you can. As so I thought my world was over, bro. I was like, this will never top like this kind of loss, especially coming from D-backs fans. will never top it. Of course, later down the line, this Boston series that has always been in my craw ever since. Brother. And then see, Boston for me happened like in high school when you're like around thousands of your peers. Because I went to a big
Yeah.
high school. That was 10 times worse. I still got beef with people like we still talk like, brother, don't ever let like the Yankees win another ship. So that happened, and I just remember last Yankees championship was, what was it, 09. So I used to get, I told myself, I was like, look, every time the Yankees win, again, I didn't think the drought would be this long. I said, look, I'm gonna get a Yankees fitted, and every time that they win, I'm gonna put the year plus the pennant number. So I was like when they won in 09, 09 was 27. So the next one will be if Aaron Judge can get it right, like, we get this, Aaron Judge get it right, we get this pitching going. It could be, you know what I'm saying? What is it going to be? 20, it'll
28.
be 20. Yeah, 23, 28. Like it's going to be that. Like you know what I'm saying? That's how passionate I am. But like I said, I think that kind of, I know that kind of answers the how'd you become a Yankees fan and who's your favorite players? Because growing up as a Yankees fan, man, like, bruh, they literally just had great players at prominent positions. Like, bruh, Gary Sheffield. Like, I was just like, oh shit, like
I
Gary.
forgot he was with the Yankees.
Yeah, bro. My childhood team was never really like. There's not necessarily like bad lean years. Now, by Yankee standards, yes, like you know what I'm saying. But once you let go of that shit, like and deal in reality, which I like to tell Cowboys fans, like once you let go of the night and deal with like once you unbrainwash yourself in that. Are you a Cowboys fan?
Me, no, I'm Panthers.
Okay. Oh, fair. Okay, cool. But the same we got Yankee fans have the same complex with the Lakers and the Cowboys, like Lakers fans and Cowboys fans. We're supposed to win every year. It's supposed to be some trial and error, but at the end of the day, we get it done, right? But growing up as a kid, bro, Jeter's still there. Gership, like Jason Giambi, like like I'm rolling.
A-Rod.
Yeah, bruh. So, A-Rod gets to the Yankee. Another thing, right? So my nickname is J-Rod, right? Now, obviously, if you met another Jared, which is my government name, most of the time they go by J-Rod or whatever, right? Well, I'm such a diehard Yankee. My friend Eddie is like, man, A-Rod's on the Yankees now. And again, I was a big A-Rod. Well, I wouldn't say big A-Rod guy. I just respected his talent and everything. Like you know what I mean, bro? Bo was knocking out. You know what I'm saying? He was doing his thing, and he was like, "Yo, A-Rod is on the Yankees now, and I know you're gonna love him too. We might as well call you J-Rod." Stuck. Like 10 years later, bro, I got friends who do not know my real name.
Wow.
Like they just call me J-Rod and my last name, and that's who I am.
Yeah.
Like, to some of my nieces and nephews, I'm Theo J-Rod. Like straight up.
Wow.
Yeah, like it ain't like no facade, like no game. Like that's literally who I am. So that happens. Obviously, I have a love-hate relationship with him for obvious reasons. I mean, we could dive into that. Um, but yeah, man, like my Yankee fandom again has by sports standards been all right. Like see, I'm a realist because at the opposite end of the spectrum, fam, I like the Vikings.
True. Take the good with the bad.
Brother, and I can't leave because again, the Vikings ain't been to the Super Bowl and shit. Before I was born. What the Cardinals have been twice? Yeah, like so. Even in that regard, my friends, hey, if you just come home before we win this ship, it'll be all gravy.
You're laying that guilt trip on
Yeah,
thick.
I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes it gets me because right, I'm like, bruh, damn. Like I should just, you know what I'm saying? But again, Cardinals been trash all my life. I got family in Minnesota. They came and got me and was like, hey man, we're not subjugating you to that. Like, don't go with them. Like, bruh, we just got this new rookie, Randy Moss. Like, we got Robert Smith, da 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 da, and everything like that. So that's what I wrote. And again, the Cardinals played in a college stadium the majority of my life, like understanding professional sports and fandom and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They played at ASU Stadium in Tempe. That's
They
where
sure shit did.
yeah, that's where the Super Bowl. Arizona's had a lot of Super Bowl. I think Arizona's had the second most behind Miami as far as Super Bowl like places, venues,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So they played at Sun Devil Stadium. The Cardinals did forever, and they were sorry there. So I was like, I'm not missing nothing for damn sure. Now Jake Plummer, Arizona great, went to the Cardinals, and I was like, I kind of peaked and was like, all right, but it never really stuck or anything like that. And they just been a poorly run franchise forever. Like when I say poorly run, I mean barring like their overall records and stuff like that. Not really any superstars, man. Like Larry Legend, obviously Fitzgerald, quiet guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was never the showstopper. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't Terrell, he wasn't Randy, Chad Johnson, even Steve Smith. And I'm talking about personality, not
Yeah.
necessarily production. We know what the production numbers are, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up watching Aeneas Williams. Like, bruh, it's not necessarily moving the needle. Like, you can't get little kids that way. But let me tell you, a Randy Moss 60-yard bomb from Dante Culpepper gets the job done. Like,
Sign me
Randall,
up.
yeah, sign me. Randall Cunningham throwing slanted. Yeah, I'm with it. So there's always been that give and take with my hometown teams. And I hate to deviate like off of baseball, but the only team I can say I positively went like full blown in was the Mercury. Love basketball and I love the women's game.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that they was winning. Like Mercury's one of the first 6 teams. So when I was growing up, I didn't really have no choice. I was like, bro, women basketball, cool, I'm in. And the Mercury got me interested in college basketball, right? Because I knew if there's a pro women's league, they got to come from somewhere. So it got me interested in college and stuff like that. So I then started watching college, like learning about Pat Summitt. Had no idea beforehand. Gene Auriemma, like all these legends and stuff like that. And then again, being fortunate enough that my grandmother had ESPN. Okay, ESPN2 comes into effect. The women's game is there. All right, okay, we're watching Rebecca Lobo. We're watching Tina Thompson. We're watching Cheryl Swoops. We're watching all of and then again, Phoenix is one of the first cities. Oh, I'm gonna hop on. Like, yo, it's a wrap. So, to be honest with you, y'all, I just rock with the Mercury. That's it. Mercury in Arizona State. I mean, I just started watching baseball. I mean, not baseball, hockey about 6 years ago, and I wasn't even like watching the Coyotes like that. My hockey friends are from Boston. They white. I was rooting for the Bruins because that's who brought me into the game. So I was like, oh, this like, and they were good. Like the Bruins are like, they was like, look, if you're gonna watch hockey and try to understand it, learn it on the highest level. The Bruins are consistently good. We want you. So they started showing me the game. I fell in love with hockey. I then started watching the Coyotes, and I get pissed off because I'm like, oh, this is dog shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But don't get me wrong, I root for the Coyotes. Got a couple jerseys. You know what I'm saying? But like now, I'm just like, all right, I'm not gonna watch the Bruins. I'm sorry, I'm too new into this sports fandom part of hockey in my life. I'm not gonna root for the Bruins. I'm just gonna root for the Coyotes. I know they bad. They're poorly run. Bam. I'm just gonna have to watch them that way. So, yeah, man. My bad. I know I went off on a tangent. This is again, y'all, the example of long-winded Jamboy in the emails, man. I'm sure y'all wondering, like, bro, I thought this was a baseball podcast. But to understand my baseball fandom, you got to know the other parts and how it came to be. Because again, I'm from Arizona. I'm 33 years old. How does this man like the Yankees, and why is he so passionate about Yankees baseball? So that's how I try and tie it all together, man.
Word, in a nutshell. Shout out to self-awareness too, man.
Bro, I'm a big proponent of self-awareness. I don't know exactly. I know, because brother, when I tell you people look at me crazy, they're like, "Oh, Arizona, how you feel about the D-backs?" I'm like, "Shit, they losing 100 games a year. I'm a Yankees fan. Like, I don't deal with that garbage."
So, who are some of your favorite non-Yankees players, past and present?
Oh man, Ichiro. Well, damn, he served his time. Obviously King Griffey Jr. Again, '90s kid, y'all. So, again, Randy Johnson. Uh, dang. I oddly enough, like I love Jason Giambi. Again, like I'm trying to think of before they got to the Yankees who I liked because Giambi, Sheffield, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
a lot of those guys, obviously, each like non-Yankee fans. I did like Luis Gonzalez because he did hit that blooper over Jeter in the World Series. I was like, damn, he got my guy. But I liked him. And then obviously, oh, Barry. Duh. Like I don't know why. Barry,
ASU.
yeah. And like I can't like, you know what I'm saying? Dog. I really should have give y'all a Barry deep dive, bro. Also, Reggie Jackson. Like again, I did not physically see Reggie Jackson play. Again, back to my grandmother, ESPN. Like I don't know. We had the cable box. It was ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN Classic.
Yep.
So all of my historical references come from me sitting hours upon hours upon hours watching ESPN Classic during the summertime because there was limited programming. Football's off, baseball's moving slow, college football isn't a thing. You know what I'm saying? And again, this is late. I want to give people the context. Like we're not talking about the 24-hour news cycle now, whether it be in any of those sports. We're talking about early 2000s, late to mid 90s. The 24-hour news cycle in sports was not that. Like you had a fresh sports center from like the midday show to at night, like to say what happened during, you know what I'm saying, the midday games, and that was it during the summertime. You know what I'm saying? And so I would literally just sit in front of the TV. I'd be like, all right, ESPN Classics, what's going on today? Okay, Muhammad Ali, Thriller Manila. Like, that's what's going on. That's what I'm watching. Because I'm not finna watch Barney. Like that's what I'm finna watch that. So like again, like watching Barry, watching Reggie, Mr. October. Obviously, he's a Yankee, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Once I found out, I was like, oh, the ASU connection. I gotta watch. Like, you know what I'm saying? I gotta check it out. I'm trying to think who else. I still, again, Mike Piazza. I still watched him. Um, yeah, man. I think that's pretty much. I know it's very Yankee centric because a lot of those dudes eventually became Yankees, but now I would even say I still like bro. I implore people who listen to this, and I know distance may be a thing. Y'all got to see Mike Trout in person. You see Mike Trout in person, you like, damn, that's a baseball player, man. Like, dog, like I just be like watching him bat and like putting up the numbers because I think Ba has a thing about the Trout and
Bryce Harper.
Harper agenda. And I was like, like I was rolling with Trout for the longest because again, I have family in the DMV, so I've been to Nats games and at the time, you know what I'm saying, and seeing Harper. But again, this silly motherfucker don't know where the warning track is, and he'd be running into stuff. Like, so he ain't never. At the time, he was not healthy. But I'm seeing Trout more often than not because of Angels. They on the West Coast, like you know what I'm saying, and everything like that. And I used to be like, bruh, I see why he's who they say he is. Y'all, if you get a chance to see him in person, he is everything who they say he is. That's a bad man. Like the way he manipulates the box, like the strike zone, like just with subtleties in his swing, his movement, when he decides to swing, like it's a subtle nuance to it. And again, I stopped playing baseball when I was roughly 12, and that's literally because my eyes are terrible. Like you can see, because I wear glasses. Hence why football became my thing. Right? That around that age is when kids start throwing heat, like actual curves, like change up, like you know what I'm saying, like stuff like that. And quite honestly, man, my eyes couldn't adjust. Like that's how I got washed out of the game from playing actually. But Trout's one of the new guys. Obviously Harper. Pretty much everybody on the Padres, dog. Like, I love anybody from Latin America. We're rolling. I'm all for it. Yeah, man. Like, I'm trying to think. Historical. I was very interested as a kid reading about Roberto Clemente a lot, which doesn't sound so foreign now, but when you a black kid from the South Phoenix, it was like, why Roberto Clemente? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
there was, you know what I'm saying? But like again, hey man, luck of the draw. My grandma had ESPN, so like I'm watching all these documentaries and stuff, and I'm just like, wow, 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 okay. And baseball is such a math driven sport. Like, you bet a certain average, you're like, that dude's a Hall of Famer. That dude's gonna be second ballot. That dude is gonna like it ain't no now granted the steroid era has done some things for narrative, but before it used to be cut and dry. Like he's gonna have to wait. He's definite. Oh, he got this many like strikeout. Yeah, he's going shaky. He didn't perform well in the playoffs, but he got the numbers to, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So once I got into that, I was like, oh shit. And I used to collect baseball cards. My grandpa was an avid, big Nolan Ryan guy. Big Nolan Ryan guy. Speaking of my grandpa. So I was always like just avidly, you know what I'm saying? It's always been a push-pull thing for me as far as what's new and what's old, because again, like I said, growing up, I was watching a lot of old games. And I'd be like, oh, so that's why this affects today. You know what I'm saying? Or this is why this and that, and everything like that. I mean, brother, I got like back home at my mom's garage, I got an extensive baseball and basketball card collection. And them baseball cards ain't even mine. They're my grandpa's. Like
Wow.
yeah, like, and they're untouched. I mean, his favorite pitcher was Nolan Ryan. Don't know how that happened. I didn't get it real. I just never got a chance to ask him. Like, I know he loved baseball and stuff. Like, I never asked him, why you love Nolan Ryan so much. But I guess you could say those are some of my past influences and stuff. So yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to get into the 5-question segment. The first and last question I ask every guest I have on here, questions 2 through 4 are 100% random. So question number 1, what were the ideal items on Jamboy's school lunch tray?
Again, I'm from Arizona. We had chimichangas in May.
Oh,
Yeah. A Cinco de Mayo. Was it racist? Probably. But that was my favorite time of year because favorite time of year. Dang. It was a chimichanga during May. The red velvet cake for Black History Month in February. Two top tier items. I really hated the pizza, that little square pizza that they used to get. I used to hate it. Oh my god. The corn dogs could do without, but if you gave me those were my favorite time right there. Those two items. I'm sorry. Those are 2 items I really give a damn about.
Question number 2, what was a player agenda that you had that backfired?
Brother, I can name a lot. Anybody who's ever done anything out of U of A, Gilbert, do you know? Okay, again, I told you I was a Sixers fan. It was a lot of my friends know I'm a Sixers fan. Do you know how painstakingly hard it was for me to root for Andre Iguodala when they forced him to be the number 1 option, and and I know we get on Ben Simmons about not being a good jump shooter. Andre wasn't the best either. Also, Michael Carter Williams. Oh my God.
Yeah.
As much as college basketball I watched, again, I like Boeheim. I was always a Boeheim guy. Now, granted, I don't want to misconstrue it. I'm not a big Syracuse guy. I just like Boeheim as an institution. So, I watched a lot of Syracuse because, again, outside of the Pac-12, the ACC is my other conference as far as basketball goes, and then obviously football because Miami's there. But, yeah, watching Martin Carter Williams, I was like, oh, okay, I see it. This mother, brother, if y'all get a chance, go back and look at his basketball reference. His shooting percentage and free throw percentage drop tremendously, like crazy proportion. I was like, what? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's pretty much it. And I say the U of A stuff tongue in cheek because they really only got Andre Iguodala and Gilbert Arenas. Everybody else is just a 6-man. Didn't reach any superstar status. I mean, I guess you could say Richard Jefferson played, but I didn't have necessarily high hopes for him. Although he is actually from Phoenix, people don't know that. Richard Jefferson Richard Jefferson from the hood, like yeah. But yeah. So I can't say any. I'm sure I'll come to think of agendas later on, but nah, I can't say anyone thought provoking enough to where we like, damn. But yeah, Michael Carter Williams comes to mind immediately.
Okay. Question number 3. What's your favorite snack chip?
Random, but also sun chips. So, and they're not actually healthy for you. I found that out. They're actually not really good for you. Like, you give me some sun chips, and it could be the cheddar or the salsa one, or hell, even the sour cream onion. Found out that the sun chip is not actually good for you, man.
Huh. I learned something.
Yeah, read the back of that label, dog. Got a lot of some wild oils in there. Apparently, are not good. I had to do some research.
All right, question number 4. What's the first time you got caught listening to something you had no business listening to?
Dog. There's two. Again, I want to be clear. I am 33 years old and from Phoenix. Too short. Too short dog in the house. Yeah. Like, I got in trouble listening to Too Short, and I got in trouble listening to Ludacris. When What's Your Fantasy came out, I hopped off the bus one day because I was like, what's your fantasy? Like, I'll never forget that. And my mom said, what did you say? I said, Ludacris. Like, Chris, you know what I'm saying? Da, 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 da. Mind you, I could not listen to unedited music till I was 13 years old.
Okay.
So going into high school, all we would be, joking around reciting raps. All I knew was the edited version, which was weird because he'd be like, and then you start rapping again, like. So yeah, Too Short, Ludacris. I don't know how because, well, not necessarily. I know how, but also random. Another player that I liked that had a short stint with the Yankees, Henderson, dog, Rick Henderson. So sorry, that's just how my mind works. But yeah, Too Short, Ludacris. Yeah, yeah. Which was very weird because obviously, as you know, those two are not the most they're not you would never mistake them for Chuck D or Ice Cube. Let's put it that way.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
And last question. What was the last thing that made you laugh uncontrollably?
Made me laugh uncontrollably. One thing that made me laugh uncontrollably. Oh man. One thing that made me laugh uncontrollably. Sheesh. And it could be just current, like little, like last thing that.
Yep, just whatever.
There was a video I saw where a lady was clearly lighting someone's car on fire, and it was on Twitter. And she clearly put lighter fluid in the car. This was clearly intentional. And for whatever reason, this isn't the first video I've seen like this, but for those who need to know, when you're lighting something on with gasoline, you need to step back because the fumes from when you throw the match or when you light it are going to ignite immediately. This lady did not do that, and like she burned her. She literally burned her eyelashes off and her eyebrows, and she let flame to the car. Now the car in the explosion, like the kickback on that thing, like it was crazy. It was funny though, because I was like, clearly, man, You have not watched it. You did not pay attention to science. Like, bruh. Ooh, also agendas. This, I'm so sorry. Agendas. Jokic. Jokic is a good one. Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Because Jokic, it's Jokic is a touchy subject for me because I truly do feel in my heart of hearts. When I see Embiid, I'll be like, Embiid would give him the fucking business. Now Embiid and these fucking Sixers drive me crazy because they can't get out their own way. And that's just the pain that I gotta deal with. Like it's hard because had they played if the Sixers were to just play Miami, I truly believe just off of matchup purposes, the Sixers would beat them, but the Sixers would have won, and we would have gotten the finals that I deserve. Because I truly I think it would have gone to 7 Sixers Nuggets, and this is just me being delusional. Because I get it, James Harden question mark, but so is like you know what I'm saying. But my main matchup was look, man, the way the NBA was set up, and this they've changed it recently. But Jokic is in the way. In my group chat, everybody calling him B Mini Ewing. Like I can't have that nigga. I don't want that stain. Like no disrespect to Pat. Hey, bad look, bro. No disrespect to Pat. We not talking about him in that capacity. But yeah, man. That's one sports agenda. The Jokic and Embiid shit. Um, yeah. That's about it. So
Okay. So is there anything you want to plug or promote? The floor is yours.
oh man. One, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity, man. It's good to finally talk to you face to face. Like we obviously we interact on Twitter and everything like that,
Yeah.
jokes and everything like that. I'm glad you can at least see my personality in person. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know we got this call and everything like that.
It matches the email.
Yeah. Thank you. Because I feel like people be like, yo, because there's been clips of me like on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff, and people have been like, yo, that's what you look like, or wow, bro, I didn't know that you like, you know what I'm saying, like, I don't know what K Bad or like I don't the only person I know who like what they look like is Kenny. I mean not Kenny, excuse me, Tone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody else incognito. I have no idea. But there's been certain instances where my face is going around on Twitter or IG, and people from the shows have been like, "Oh, that's what you look like. That's crazy. Wow. Okay, it makes sense because I've been talking on these on that stuff too. So they match the face with the person. As far as plugging goes, man, y'all just bear with us for the Four Wisemen podcast. Trust me. When we do return at full strength, it'll be just better. It'll be a better show, be a better environment. Again, just want to say thank you for this opportunity for allowing me to talk my talk, man. Hopefully, hopefully you get people not don't check out and be like this motherfucker talking about everything but baseball. I tried, y'all. That's just how my mind works. Like I'm sure after this call, I'm gonna tweet you, bro. I'm gonna hit your DMs like, bro, I forgot about this one. This is a big one, and you're gonna be like, well, that's just too bad, brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Again, bro, I truly appreciate the podcast community that I am a part of. I do not take it for granted, bro. I'm not even handling like the production part or anything like that. I'm just happy like to be a part of the lexicon of something greater. Like that to me is so cool. Like, bruh, there's people who still know me from the black guy who tips. Like that's pretty dope. And I've commented on Rod stuff before, and he was like, Jamboy never changed, bro. I was like, Rod, you all right. So yeah, man. I just want to say thank y'all to everybody. I truly appreciate it. I know we have fun and we joke around and stuff like that. And it's almost kind of weird because you never met these people in person or even talked to them face to face without being via email. And it's like, yo, this community is so strong, and we uplift each other like and everything else like that. And it's just I'm just so proud to be here, especially on this platform with you. And yeah, just ecstatic. Like, wow, man. Like I'm talking. Like, wow. It's happy
Well,
to be.
man, I greatly appreciate you being on the pod with me, man.
Yeah,
And so make sure you like, download, and subscribe to At the Plate with Danny Foxworth.
for sure.
And thank you for listening. And for Jamboy and myself, till next time,
Yes,
y'all
sir.
be
We
good.
out of here.
3
Peace.
strikes.
Yes, sir.